All right, we're on.
Let's do it.
Sit down, Mikey boy. Sit. Good boy. All right, Joyce, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This is episode 3. This is Nathan and Joyce. We work together, have for a few years. How long have we worked together now?
We're heading on to 5 years, I reckon.
5 years, really?
Getting around that, yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so there's a few topics we want to talk about today, one of which is addiction, which we'll go into further, and relationships, something we both talk about from time to time. So, Joyce, if you want to sort of just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit, just a brief, maybe 1 minute about yourself.
Gotta be that. Yeah, so my name is Nathan, 35, married, got a young fella, work in the similar industry to Jakey over here, just in the freight industry, and he asked me to sort of come on the podcast and have a chat about sort of some of the addictions and things that I've had in my life, and I've agreed to come on and share that with you guys.
Cool. Okay. It's a good start, I think. So I've got a question based off that, and do you want to just tell us briefly and say another 30 seconds a minute about what that addiction is? Yeah,
absolutely. So pornography, man, it is an addictive thing, surprisingly. A lot of people don't think it at the time. But yeah, no, 100% it is, and it does take a hold of your life in a negative way, and it could really impact your relationships and whatnot as well. So my addiction was pornography, and I've come to terms with that and definitely changed my life for the better.
Okay. So we formulated a few questions for this, obviously, before we started. So I want to kick off with a few of those. So when do you first remember being exposed to pornography?
Shit. No, I'm looking at probably like 10.
10 years old.
Something along those lines, man. 10 to 11 years old. Like, obviously, my old man was a truckie, and, my old man, we all got along pretty well. And, he kind of sort of, I wouldn't say introduced me to it, but it definitely wasn't something that was kept out of plain sight. So, yeah, I'd probably say about, 10, 11, something like that.
And when you say not kept out of plain sight, how did you come across
magazines, man? Nudie mags in the truck, always sitting in the top visor above the truck. It was something that was sort of accessible and pretty easy. He'd go off to go get his paperwork or something, and me and Matt are sitting in there looking through the paper, the magazines, and and at a young age like that, you're very pliable. Your mind's not fully developed. You know what I mean? So you kind of don't know what you're looking at. But that was the sort of first experience I had, and it only progressed from there.
Obviously, we didn't have the internet back then, so things, kids these days is it's just very different. You got a phone, you've got a fucking iPad, whatever. Back in the day, we literally had to have a physical,
absolutely,
item to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a hard copy. There was no such thing as watching it on your phone or, sneaking away into a room. You had to steal either one of your mates' dad's fucking magazines or steal your own dad's magazines or whatever. Yeah, it's definitely changed. It's a lot more easy to access nowadays.
So this cunt's fucking chewing the camera gear. Hey, sit down. You want to be a star, mate? You got to behave. Sit down. Sit. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're all good.
Okay, so I'll loosely base the questions. Hang on. Sit down or you going out? Sit. Fucking idiot. People don't think I'm like a dog abuser or some shit. So obviously you saw it there. It was in the truck or around the house or whatever. Mm-hmm. How did that eventuate? Did he show you that stuff, or did you have to then go and sneak and look at it? You were interested?
I think it was just more of it piqued my interest, Obviously you grow up, boys like girls, girls like boys, etc., etc. So it was kind of oh, what's this? This is something, naked. Whoa, what? And just, it piqued the interest more than anything, and it kind of drew me to sort of looking for that stuff a lot more frequently. And Dad did his best to try to hide it, but it wasn't something that wasn't easy to find.
Okay, so he was conscious of it. He didn't want the kids to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He wasn't, a full deviant or something.
He was.
He was. He was a deviant, but he wasn't doing it, on purpose to sort of, expose his kids to that kind of shit. He did his best to try, but
he was aware, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. Speaking of the curiosity side of things, that was my first introduction to pornography. I remember my parents would go out, sometimes. And they're aware of this. My parents would go out for whatever, and we had an office at home, and Dad had some work computers and stuff, and we'd jump on that for school or whatever. And yeah, basically they duck out. I jump on the computer, and I remember like my first experience was just like somehow I came across boobs, and I'm basically looking at these boobs, just like whether it was Google Images, or I don't even know if they were like, you know, they had a bra on or whatever. But I remember looking at the boobs and being like, wow, like this is pretty cool, man. You know, like there's
Best
something
thing in
in
the
your
world.
brain that clicked that's like this is interesting to you, whether that's the sexuality side or you know,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm
Absolutely.
just gonna fuck this dog off, man, because he keeps walking around and doing shit. Oh. Oh, idiot. We're done. Yep. So, yeah, I remember they duck out. I'd go on the internet, and that was my first experience of porn, I guess. And then, to be honest, like mine sort of turned into an addiction quickly, not in terms of looking for the porn, but like curiosity addiction.
Absolutely.
And like, fuck, I don't know about this. And like, I grew up in the country, so we didn't have any. Like, it was very simple. We didn't have any sex ed. We didn't have any. You know, it was basically learn as you go kind of thing.
100%.
So the next question here we got. After you found it, what pushed you to keep going back and looking at it? Was it like the curiosity for sure, but was there any times when then you started picking it up more frequently, even without curiosity, where you're just like,
Like when I sort of got to that teenage age, you know, like 14, 15, 16, obviously, you know, testosterone starts to pump through your body and you sort of have that attraction to the opposite sex and you just want to sort of know more about them and things like that. So definitely the curiosity was the biggest part, but I think it was just, I don't know, something piqued the interest. As soon as you see it, it just draws you to it. Like, and you know, and that's the weird thing about pornography. It's at a young age when your mind is so pliable, it does seem almost like it's a real thing. Like it's you know, your neighbors down the road or it's someone across the way. Like they're actors. You know what I mean? They're paid to do this. We don't understand that at that age. We don't see it like that at that age.
Yeah,
so it messes with your perception on things.
yeah,
you
you
know?
think they're just enjoying it and they're doing it for their own benefit.
Yeah. So it
100.
also changes how you see sex and how you see, you know, intimacy with someone. You know what I mean? You have this sort of expectation of the partner that they should be giving you what that woman giving that dude on the TV or on the movie or whatever it be you're watching. And yeah, that definitely plays a negative way on the body, on the mind. Like,
Would that have affected your first ever relationship or experience? Like, you don't have to go into it, but like, did you reckon you went in there with certain expectations of what was going to happen, or not really?
Not really. My first relationship was kind of, I was a lot older when I sort of got my first sort of serious sexual relationship. And, you know, it was sort of just a free for all, just have fun. Like she was very open to anything. So it didn't really strike me as an issue.
Yeah.
It was only sort of once I got with the right woman that it became sort of a problem. You know what I mean? I had this expectation of my partner at the time, and
You have to do this or this.
This is what I expect more than anything. You know what I mean? It became almost like a domination thing, and like it just pays a negative toll on the relationship in so many ways, man. Like she starts to feel like she's not worthy, and then if she knows that you're watching it, or she comes across somehow that you've got it on your browser history or something like that you've been watching it, that leads her to thinking that she's not good enough, or you know, I'm not sexy enough for you anymore, and all that kind of stuff, and that hurts. You know what I mean? But obviously, as a male and addicted to it like I wasn't seeing it from that perspective. I was only seeing it from my own sort of selfish perspective, and that definitely changed once I sort of stopped and sort of took a step back, you know, and realized, fuck, I'm really hurting this woman, and she cares about me a lot, and I care about her a lot, but it was just my mind was in a different place, you know.
100%. I think I was actually the opposite. Like, I would watch the things that I was into, pornography wise, and I would not tell my partner, and I'd just do like, I'd be too scared to ask. Like, I've always been like, as we know, and this is sort of what the podcast is about, is me getting better at communication, because I'm not the best at it. I wouldn't communicate what I was actually into, and then I wouldn't have as much fun with sex, and then therefore they'd think that I'm not having a good time and end up with the same outcome, that, oh, he's not that into me, or he doesn't think I'm sexy or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that's
I was just too embarrassed to say like, hey, let's do this, or let's do this.
And it is kind of a taboo topic. Like, surprisingly, people are nervous to talk to their partners about their sexual preferences and things that they like and things they don't like. It's not an unusual thing. Like, some people keep it to themselves, some people are more open about it, you know?
I think, like you said, it is just a bit taboo, and like obviously less now. I care as I get older. You care less.
No, absolutely.
That's like growth. But so, how did your consumption change over time?
it increased 15-fold. Like it went from looking at a dirty magazine once in a blue moon, like wherever I could find one, to stealing movies off dad, and I'd find them around the house and I'd steal them and I'd share them with my mates, and that's another bad thing too. Like I wasn't just affecting myself by it; I was passing it off to my mates, and then they were getting affected by it. So it was just like a progressive thing. Like it wasn't sort of just situated with myself. I was lending my mates movies. I was stealing dad's and then sharing them with them, and they'd share them to their friends, and their friends would share it to them friends, and then finally it gets back to me, and then I take it back and hide it back to where dad left it, and it was just a negative thing the whole way through.
Snowball, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. So were you aware at the time that pornography was an addiction and that it was affecting you or affecting your life, or?
No, God, no. No, to me, it seemed natural and normal. It wasn't really sort of, for example, like my parents weren't kind of like, oh, don't watch that, don't look at that. It wasn't something that was kind of explained that it was a taboo thing. It was just, it was in front of me and it was interesting. You know what I mean? It piqued the interest, like I said before. And that definitely, it didn't really occur to me that it was an addiction at the time until I started realizing sort of how much it was hurting someone. Then I stood back and was like, no, this isn't good. Like, I don't want to do this to my partner anymore. Like, my auntie, hats off to her. She made a good point. She's a strong sort of feministy kind of woman. Like she believes in power in women and all that kind of stuff. And she explained to me sort of what pornography does to women from a woman's perspective. And we were sitting down around the table having a talk about it. And she opened my eyes to the whole, sort of stepping back and looking at it from a woman's side of things. And I was kind of like, fuck, like I did not realize what I was doing. Like,
and what age was this, out of interest? Recently? Or
yeah, recently, man. Like within the last year. Like,
wow.
It's the effects it has on your partner is definitely not something that goes into mind straight away.
And was your partner there when this was discussed?
Absolutely. Like I'm a bit of an open book with Beck.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, 100%. She agreed with my auntie. Yeah. And I sort of stood back and looked at her and was like, do you really feel this way? And she's kind of like, yeah, like she never worded that to me or,
or taboo
explained
again,
it to
like
me.
Maybe you didn't want to say that. But.
Yeah, or she was worried it would make me upset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, maybe he's going to leave me if I feel this way. But that wasn't the case. It actually opened my eyes and gave me insight to how she felt. In turn, made me feel better about myself and sort of got me on the path of getting away from that stuff,
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that's recently or whatever. How long up until, when did you think pornography was affecting your life up until, or is it still affecting your life, do you think?
It's not affecting my life anymore. Like I've cut it cold turkey. So I've just sort of...
No beating the meat.
No beating. No beating. Well,
like
there's definitely like there's still beating the meat, man. There's still beating the meat, but there's no pornography involved in order to get to that situation. It'd be something intimacy with my partner, or it'd be just
what you're saying, like you're thinking.
Yeah,
of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of going to sort of something that's fake and not real, utilizing real things to sort of get myself to that that pleasurable point.
That's pretty smart, man. Because then when you do get to like sex or whatever, you're visualizing like what
you're in the moment.
You're taking that the third party out of the equation.
Absolutely,
that's cool,
absolutely. Man. And I'll tell you what, it makes intimacy with your partner tenfold better because you're seeing her. You're not seeing Stormy Daniels or whoever it is that you're into, whatever porn star you're into. Yeah, Trump's favorite in there or whatever. Like, you're not seeing that. You're seeing your woman, the woman you love, and it changes the whole intimacy side of things.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And is she aware of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said to you, I'm a bit of an open book, man. Like, I'm not one to keep secrets from my wife or, not talk to her about stuff. So she's aware of my past and she's aware of all this stuff. And, even about the pornography stuff, I know it hurt her feelings when I told her about it, but I can't not be honest with that. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that's absolutely, if it's something that's going to affect our relationship, it's definitely something that we need to talk about. And I'm a big sort of advocate for talking about your problems instead of keeping that shit deep inside because, man, it eats away at you. Like,
well, that's been my failings in pretty much every relationship is not being able to talk about good, the bad, or anything in between. And we've sort of discussed that, but like, it's the truth, bro.
Absolutely.
Only up until I got sober. I think that a lot of that is because I had this friend in my head that I was talking to about all of these things, which is drugs.
Yeah.
I'm talking to this friend in my head and telling him everything or whatever, and then they just tell you what you want to hear, and then you think, oh, I've done my own like brain therapy. I don't need to talk to them about it because like it's all sorted.
Yeah,
it's just not the case, man. Like
it takes you away from the truth, kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
well, that's
puts you
it.
in this false
you're talking
mindset.
to yourself, so you're not getting an outside perspective on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're also not letting your partner or whoever it is, your friend, in on your thought process. You know, and
absolutely,
we don't get it right the first time.
And it's kind of, look, to be honest, it is a very male thing. You know, we don't like to talk about our emotions. We don't like to talk about our feelings. We don't like to express how we feel about things because you're a man. You know, we've been told from a young age, you know, your father's strong, independent man. You don't need to express your feelings. You don't need to be emotional, all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, yeah, in a sense, okay, you know, strength is definitely an attractive feature to a woman. She wants a man who can have, you know, hold his own and
caveman sort of.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, she also needs to know and to see when you're feeling things. It's important.
I think that's like one thing I've noticed with doing this journey on like this will probably end up on TikTok or whatever, but like a lot of people follow me, I think, because like I'm starting to give out traits of someone that like trying to be accountable, trying to talk about it, whatever. And like a lot of women on there that may come across it, see that their partner's not doing that, or, you know, like I remember my ex-partner used to show me guys that were talking about like emotional intelligence and all this sort of stuff. And she'd send it to me and I just get the shits because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this guy's gay. You want me to be like this guy, or you want me to, and like, it's just not what I wanted. Yeah, I just thought it was like actually having a stab at me rather than being like, hey, can you be like him a little bit?
Yeah.
I get that.
And I don't think their intention is to fully change us. Like, they don't want you to be a totally different person. It might just be small things, you know, small habits that you have or small things that you're doing that are probably in your eyes considered normal, but to them is considered, you know, alien. It's foreign. Like, that's not how they were brought up, you know? Like, there has to be compromise in a relationship. Like, that's super important. You know, they have to accept you for who you are, but also at the same time, you have to give them the best part of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're choosing one person for life, you know, I guess. Like,
absolutely.
Why wouldn't you want them to, like, you know, see it inside and out, you know?
Absolutely.
So, here we go, sorry. We've got the intimacy. So, what was a turning point? What was a turning point with pornography that you realised that, you know, this is not good for you and you need to do something about it or make some sort of changes?
Yeah, like when you're sitting in bed and like your first thought is to just get on the Pornhub or the XNXX, whatever fucking websites were available at the time, and just to beat your meat randomly to some fucking chick, or like, you know, eventually it becomes like it becomes more like a habit. You're doing it just out of boredom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, I think the turning point for me was obviously the conversation with my auntie was a really big one. You know, sort of bringing to light a lot of the issues that I wasn't seeing. But yeah, sitting in bed and like just looking one day and I was like, what the fuck am I doing, man? Like, here I got a woman who's, you know, okay, she wasn't home from work at the time, but I'm like, well, what am I doing, man? I'm sitting in bed, I'm watching some random chick getting off with some random dude in another country, and where I've got a partner who's going to be home in a few hours.
I can do it myself.
Or I could utilize that time and make her feel good about herself. Like, it was all about the perspective, man. Like, that definitely changed it, like looking back from her side of things. And yeah, once I had that chat to my auntie and it kind of come to light about the whole situation, that definitely changed it, like, for sure.
I think that one point of that as well, and I won't, it's none of my business, but like, I think sometimes women watch it more than we realize, or don't watch porn at all. And like I always assume that like chicks never watch porn, and my ex-partner told me she did. And like, I think that sometimes that also, like, say your partner didn't watch it and then you're watching it all the time, she thinks you're a fucking creep. Do you know what I mean? Or vice versa. Like, I think it's interesting, like, just spur of the moment thought is like, fuck, do women watch it? Do they not? Like,
oh, look, I'm sure there
are,
man. You know? Like, I'm sure there are women out there who watch it. Like, it's probably more taboo for a woman to admit that she watches pornography than it is for a man.
We joke about it, whereas I've never heard a woman joke about watching porn.
You know, hear girls at the club, like, or at the pub chatting about like the porn they watched yesterday, whereas you're at the pub with the mates and they're like talking about something they seen the other day. Like, it's definitely, it's a lot more open in conversation with men than it is about women.
It's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has your life changed since quitting the porn? I know you said you know it's just cold turkey, you're not doing anything. How has your life changed? And mindset, maybe.
Look, I'm a lot happier. I'm definitely a lot happier. I'm not, for whatever reason, man, like, as much as, you know, getting off and you know, reaching the orgasm gives you the fucking endorphins and makes you feel good and all that kind of shit. Like, it definitely you still come away from it feeling shallow and depressed and not happy. And I guess giving it up, like I said about the perspective thing, I started to see my wife in a different light. Shout out to my wife. You know, and that made me feel better about myself. In turn, she's seen a side of me that she hadn't seen for a very long time because of the addiction, which then bloomed our relationship into a better way. You know, we paid more attention to each other, how we felt about things. We listened to each other a lot more. We spent more time together. You know, it wasn't, you know, we gave up watching TV a lot of the time. You know, we'd spend time just sitting on the couch chatting, or we'd, you know, we'd go for a walk and we'd talk while we go for a walk. Like, we'd bring the young fella and the dog for a walk and we'd just have a chat while we're walking. Like, it just opened communication in a better way and a lot healthier way for us. And that made me feel better as a person. And I definitely felt a lot more confident, a lot more positive about things as well because of that.
I must say your communication is really good. Like, I admire that. Like, especially being open. Like, that's my biggest thing is, aside from starting this journey, and I think I've come a long way.
Absolutely.
Communication wise. And I think a lot of that's sobriety and like just freeing up brain capacity. But like, you are a good communicator. You use, you know, all the right words. You don't just breeze over things. Like, I think that's admirable, man. And it's not very common with men, you know.
Look, I can see it in yourself, man. Like, everything that you kind of gone through and everything, like, would have you spoken about that, you know, before you gave up, like the pot and stuff? Absolutely not. But now look at you, man. Like, you're out there, you're an open book, and that's admirable as well, man. Like, you've taken a step back and realized things that you haven't done right, or, you know, things that you may have done while you were on the drugs, but now you've given it up. Like, you're a whole nother person.
One thing, I went to therapy, and a part of that was discussing like the relationship that I was in, or relationships in general. And he sort of ran me through like the three different ways you can act as a human, or react to whatever. And that's like being a victim, or victim mentality. You can be like the opposite of a victim, so like the perpetrator, I guess. And then you can be in the middle. And like, he basically said, you kind of want to be in the best way to live, or the healthiest way to live is to be in the middle.
Yeah.
And when I was using drugs, I had a lot of victim mentality. So it was all, oh, this is out to get me, or this is such and such's fault and this affected me, or blame it on the drugs or whatever. And like, even with a recent video that sort of went a bit nuts, is like, I got a lot of that, oh, victim, blaming. I didn't feel like I was, but maybe I was. That's their perspective. I can't knock that. But I'm certainly trying to like be conscious of that and not play the victim mentality. And when you like are conscious to, even if you're playing perpetrator, where you're like, you know, and I think we've discussed this before, is just turn everything off and it's about me. That's not always a negative. Being selfish sometimes is a positive thing. Like, for example, if I don't put my sobriety first over any other relationship in my life right now, then I'm likely to fall back, and then everything loses anyway. So you do need to be sort of that hard cunt, or, you know, like...
Yeah, definitely. You need to be selfish to a point.
100%, yeah. But ideally living in that middle grounds where you're not saying, why me, poor me.
You're owning it.
But you're also not attacking people either. You're trying to be in that middle ground of like being reasonable. And my dad's really good at that. Like, he sort of never gets angry. He's always willing to talk about things. I think you live in that middle ground, you know. Yeah. And we all slide along that scale. That's normal.
Absolutely.
But it's not until you're aware that like, fuck, like... And I have another mate, Chris O from work, you know... Chris.
Yeah.
A couple of times I've discussed things with him over the years of like a relationship, whatever. And he's like, mate, you just sound like you're playing the fucking victim. And I was like, whoa. At first you sort of feel attacked, which is a victim
You get
thing.
on the defensive.
But that is more, that is victim mentality. It's like, I'm getting attacked, you know?
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think that's sort of changed my life massively. That's one big thing that I took out of therapy is you don't want to... Playing the victim doesn't get you anywhere.
No, definitely
And after a while, people start to pick up on that. And they go, oh, this... You know, we see it sometimes with drivers at work or whatever, when it's always the victim. Yeah. This happened to me, it's happened to me. You just get over it and you're like, fuck, this guy's never going to help himself.
Yeah, you're better off just owning the thing you've done. Like, just be truthful, because, you know, what's the worst case scenario? That's kind of the mentality you need to have, is I don't fucking care, man. If I'm honest and you don't like me being honest, well, fuck you. Like, I'm being honest because that's who I am. If you don't like that, well...
100%.
There's the door, man. Like, you know, and it's the same way I tackle relationships, man. You better off just being honest, because trust me, man, they're going to find that shit out sometime.
Yeah, bro, I know.
You know, they'll find it out. Whether you fucking, your dumbass fucking leaves it on the phone. Like, for example, you're watching, you know, back when you're watching a movie or whatever, like, you leave it on your phone and all of a sudden your missus comes in and goes to look at the time on your phone and boom, there's a fucking video on there of some chick getting, like, towed up. Like, eventually you get found out.
It will come out, 100%.
You know,
100%.
And that's where owning it becomes sort of the key part. Like, you really need to own that mistake and like own that problem and sort of work your way through it.
Oh, for sure. I let, especially nicotine or cigarettes, like I was having a bit of a guilty pleasure where I'd have a cigarette on a weekend at my mate's shop, and my ex-missus, I'd have a shower, I'd clean my teeth, you know, and it'd be hours later and she'd come home and she'd smell it on me and I'd lie about it. And like same thing, that was victim mentality, like, oh.
Where you clearly were in the wrong and she knew it. But
I should have just said it straight away, like, hey, like you might notice, you might not, but like I fucking had a cigarette, I failed. It's really hard to beat this addiction and I'm really sorry. And she would have fucking been so much more stoked.
Absolutely. She would have been happier that you told her the truth and just sort of try to cover it up.
And that's me now. Like I'm just trying to, I just remember all those things and try and like apply it to future self, you know?
Yeah, look, man, I'm proud of you, bro. Like you've really come a long way, especially in like giving up, you know, the weed, giving up the ciggies, all that kind of stuff. Like it takes a lot, man. And it takes a big man to admit when he's made a mistake and when he's done the wrong thing. And you know, to all the guys that have been on this podcast, like it takes a lot, and hats off to them, man.
Yourself included, man. Like,
Absolutely.
Talking about like crazy shit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like it takes a lot to be vulnerable. It takes a lot to be honest about things, and definitely coming out and doing those things. A, it helps other people, but B, it helps yourself as well.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude, it helps me so much. Like my communication in general with like things outside of the podcast or TikTok videos, whatever, is better. Is 100% better.
Absolutely.
You know, whether it's in a situation at work or
definitely.
But yeah, I mean, you remember like how many times, like in your opinion, how many times did I say at work I was going to quit vaping or cigarettes?
Oh,
how many times a week? Even?
I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Nearly every day, bro.
Nearly every day. That's it. Like,
you know, I had apps on my phone to help me try and do it, and I just couldn't fucking do it. And like, you know, but the thing is, I'm glad that I kept putting it out there into the stratosphere, because if I didn't say that I was trying to quit something, no one was aware, and then it's a silent battle, and then it's so easy to lose a silent battle. Whereas if you put it out there, you get embarrassed.
You know, we were talking about the other day, manifesting, man. You were manifesting the right mentality, bro.
Yeah, like, true. It's a good way to look at it.
You know,
if I told you about it and I failed, I knew that you guys would just either laugh at me or be like, he can't do it or whatever, and that was motivating to be like, no, one day I'm going to fucking do it.
Well, you took a big change in your fitness too, remember? Like you started going to the gym a lot more, like eating a lot healthier, like these are all things that sort of helped you get to that point too. You know?
Well, that's why the podcast is called the whole sort of platform is called the Quit List, because I had a list of things that I wanted to quit over time. With that being like nicotine first, which was vaping first, cigarettes second, and then weed was on there, but like it was way down the list. It was sort of almost last. And the main reason for that is because by the end of it, I was getting medical marijuana. And I'd use that to justify that I needed it. You know, like my ex-partner, I was like, I needed this. This helps me with this. I actually did, and I'm fucking way better off now. But I was using that to justify it, or victim mentality. So weed was nearly last. I had sugar. I had fast food like McDonald's, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's a huge list of things that I quit and just cross one off at a time, because you can't do 2, 3, 4, 5 things at once. You have to
especially if one of those things requires like quite a lot of energy and
fucking
time.
Oath.
You know what I mean? Like,
because the stress of not, like, you know, if I did cigarettes last, I would have failed everything else first. I had to do the most addictive first, which was nicotine.
Absolutely.
And funny enough, like marijuana wasn't addictive at all, to be honest. It was just hard to quit because of the habit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it wasn't the substance it was the habit that I created that was addictive.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? I use ChatGPT to get a few questions, because sometimes it's hard to take the emotion out of the questions because you know the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll let you fire away.
So in relation to your addiction and things that you've sort of gone through, like what's something you would say you enjoy now way more than you did when you were sort of high, or when you were sort of taking drugs?
Life in general. Life in general is better without addiction.
Yeah.
I felt like, to be honest, the scariest part of addiction was that I didn't think that I could actually beat it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell anyone that. Like, I never told my ex-partner, like, hey, like, I'm really fucking scared. Like, this is stuck with me for life, and like, I can't get out of this, you know. And if I had I would have got some support, I'm sure. Like, you know, everyone wants to support someone that's struggling.
Yeah, 100%.
But, to be honest, everything is better. I'm eating more. Like, I used to go to the gym every day. I still do most of the time. I take a few rest days now. But I used to go to the gym every day, and I trained so hard. Like, I was always consistent in the training. That was another addiction, like working out, lifting. But I was
a healthy addiction.
100%. But I was never eating enough because of my other addictions, you know, whether it's pot or nicotine, whatever. I wasn't eating enough, so I wasn't seeing positive results because of the training. And now that I'm sober, I'm like eating like a fucking horse. I'm dieting, I'm cooking. One thing, actually, a good one there is cooking. Like I was always a fucking prick to my ex. I wouldn't cook. She would always do the cooking, and that was a sore point.
Yeah.
Because I was lazy, I wasn't motivated. You know, all this shit was just fucking. It was all too hard. And now, like, I cook every day, multiple times a day. I'm doing the carnivore diet at the moment, and that's obviously all cooking. You're cooking your meat, and I'm excited to. Once I hit that month stage of carnivore, I'm going to throw fruit and veggies in and really start cooking, like, you know, cooking some cool shit. So that'd be the main thing I would say is actually cooking. I'm really enjoying cooking.
100%. We talked on the carnivore thing at work, and it's good too because you can start to introduce small things and see what your body reacts well to and what it doesn't react well to. So it's definitely a good avenue to go down, man. Like, to start to see sort of what works best for you.
Well, processed foods was one of the things that I wanted to cut in the quit list. Is like I wanted to get rid of processed foods. It's not good for you. Sure, you can have a cheat meal here or there, whatever, which I'm still not interested in. I want to just cut the Maccas, all that shit out completely. A cheat meal for me will be like a nice restaurant meal.
Yeah.
You know, like when we went to the Wally Bay, got a steak and some potato bacon, some veggies. Fuck, that's a mad cheat meal.
A proper cooked
for me.
meal. Yeah, absolutely. Where you know it's not processed shit. Like,
and at the end of the day, it's the same
KFC
price.
Like yeah,
like,
100%.
Or maybe a little bit more, but you're getting real food, man.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't feel like shit after you eat it.
No, 100%.
That's the worst thing, man. You go to like Mickey D's for a cheat meal, or you go to like KFC, and then you go home and you're, oh, fuck, I feel terrible. Like, I felt good at the time, but then you regret it for, 1 to 2 days after it. Or if you're someone who gets heartburn and things like that, man, it fucking kills. Like, it's just not pleasant.
With carnivore, that's interesting. Aside from the daily diarrhea, which is fucked, and shitting yourself, I don't feel bloated. I don't feel like my body's processing anything it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Which is, it's funny. I've never had that in my life. But also, talking addiction, I've never been able to stick to a diet for more than like a week or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd always fold, like, because I was folding in life. I was picking up the drugs, whatever.
Yeah.
I was folding in my dieting, and like now, like I'm nearly on week 3, and like fuck, like I'm pretty proud of that. Like it's hard to stick to a diet.
So do you think the being sober thing definitely helped you with your mindset, be able to sort of stick to that goal and keep to that?
100%. Yeah, telling like one of the biggest things that I'm like super stringent on now is if I say that I'm going to do something or I commit to something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I don't and I fall down, I feel like I'm relapsing on drugs, or I'm falling down in other aspects. Because if you say you're going to do something, you've got to do it.
Yeah, follow through to the end.
Which you've mentioned with manifesting, that's exactly what it is. You're saying this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you say it enough and it happens. But
absolutely.
If you say it and then it doesn't happen, that's okay. But like you're telling yourself you're going to do it, and you're committing to it, so you have to do it if it's a task.
Absolutely. Like manifesting wasn't, even with me, man, manifesting wasn't something really I thought much on growing up. It was kind of, a bit of hocus pocus sort of bullshit. But my wife is a very big advocate on it. Like, she believes in it, she to her core. And even, same lottery numbers every week, things like that. Like, she's very, ask the universe and the universe will provide. And, the more I look into it, the more I'm kind of like, what, there is some truth to it, man. Like, if you ask for something and you put enough time in it and you put enough effort into it, the results tend to come forward.
I manifested sobriety like the last few weeks. Like, there was one thing that particularly made me like go sober. It was enough to push me. But like for the few weeks prior to that, I was like, I want to get sober. I need to get sober. I have to get sober. Like, this is not an if or but anymore. Like, it's gotta. And like, it was like, because I told myself it enough, like it came into fruition,
Yeah, that's mad. And would you say, since giving up the drugs, that you're a more positive person, a happier person? Like,
yeah, for sure, more happier person. But also, like, when you're not happy, you sort of have to sit with that too. That's one thing I if I'm having a bad day or some shit, like, I might still go quiet, or someone pisses me off or whatever, I might still go quiet. Some people say it's cold, whatever. I still do that. But instead of doing something to fill that void like drugs, I actually go quiet and just be with whatever's going on at that time. And then you deal with it at the time.
That was going to be my next question, was, so like, if you find yourself at that point where relapse is a possible thing, what do you do to help yourself get away from that?
To be honest, like, every day, my main thing is nicotine for the relapse. Like, I don't think about smoking weed or drinking piss or, going and getting a bag or whatever. Like, that doesn't cross my mind. I'm super lucky. I know, like, for a lot of people, those things are nuts. But for me, it's more the nicotine. Like, there's something about that drug that just sticks with you forever. And like, people at work that have quit for 15 years say, I still sting for a ciggy, or, the one thing I think of is how far I've come with the amount of days. Like, it's nearly a year for nicotine for me.
That's amazing, man. Seriously.
And it feels like yesterday, bro, that I was like, I can't do it, boys. Like, I'm going to go downstairs and have a ciggy. But like, yeah, it's nearly a year. And I feel like if I don't, it just ruins all of that time spent and that energy. And I also remember hating the feeling of how bad I wanted to not do it. So why would I ruin that by doing it? You know, for a short, you have a ciggy, it's 5 minutes of fucking, of joy from that. And then you're just I'm going to hate myself for the next 3 months because I'm going to have to start reset my timer. Like, when was my last cigarette? It's just not worth
Starting
it.
from scratch after all the effort you put in kind of thing.
100%. And the other thing too there is the thing that keeps me like on track is now I'm starting to build up a little bit of a following online and people are taking inspiration from what I'm saying and hopefully I'm giving out positivity. And I don't want to look like a fraud. I don't want someone to catch me at the pub having a beer. Yeah. Or, I'm out in public at the shops and I'm baked as fuck or whatever. Like, I'm concerned that someone would see that and think that everything I've said is bullshit and then they're not going to associate with that or take the positive stuff from it. So I'm super conscious of that. I'm not going to be a fraud. Like,
no, absolutely.
If I was to relapse, I'm absolutely going to put it out there and let everyone know because growth will come from that also.
100%. And look, if you can help one person from this, like, or two people from this, like that's good, man.
That's enough. Yeah, 100%.
That's all you need.
One person. That's it.
Just one person, man. If you can change someone's life, that one person's life around for the better. You come out of it feeling better about yourself. They come out of it feeling better about themselves. Like, that's a good thing.
It's a big space, like the sobriety. And I remember one of my friends I told when I was like, listen, I'm going to start doing this. He's like, oh, it's oversaturated. Everyone's doing it. I'm like, man, I'm not doing it to be that influencer or whatever. Like, hopefully I'll influence in the right direction and people will get positivity from what I'm saying. But I'm here to to grow myself. Yeah. And also if someone takes from it and they grow, beautiful. Like, there's no set goal or set followers or whatever. It's a journey, man. And like, so far it's been a positive journey.
100%. And like you said, talking about things is important. Like, it's something you weren't so big on back in the day, but now that you've sort of come to that point in your life, you're more comfortable talking about this stuff, and that's going to help people too. Like, it helps both, you know what I mean? It helps you and it helps the listener.
Yeah, 100%.
Or the person watching it. So that's a win-win in my books. Like,
Right, you got another one, mate? Or? You got me to go?
I'll have a look, man. Let's have a browse and see. I had a few here, so I just want to make sure I get the right questions up. What advice would you give to someone thinking about quitting? Like, what would you say would be your best sort of step-by-step process?
When you say quitting, is that addiction?
Addiction, just quitting, or even just quitting, marijuana, for example. Like, I know there are a lot of people who are, it's their day-to-day life, man. Like, my old man was one. I'm not going to deny it. Like, up until pretty much he passed, he was addicted to marijuana. Like, some of it obviously towards the end was medicinal purposes to help ease the pain and whatnot. But even beforehand, like, he was pretty big on it. So what would you say to someone who was sort of trying, but never really succeeding at giving that up?
Exactly what you said, consistency. Like, it is 100% consistency.
Yeah.
And also you have to find purpose to want to quit. Like, my ex-partner was always like, you need to quit this, you need to quit that. And like, someone just telling you that doesn't resonate with you. Like, personally, it didn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
I needed to want to quit. I needed to agree with that and also want that. So I'd say consistency.
Yep.
And finding purpose in quitting. If you're happy doing what you're doing and someone else is telling you should quit for whatever reason, you don't care. Like, it's your life,
Yeah.
You have to want to quit yourself, because if you don't, you're just going to fail. And that was the reality of it for me.
Makes sense,
to be honest. Same with like pornography. If someone's telling you, hey, your partner's saying, hey, you should stop doing that, it's affecting your sex life, but you're loving it and you're having so much fun,
you're not going to want to do it.
You struggle to want to quit.
Absolutely.
Because you can't see the negativity in it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, also it is good for people to tell you that you need to stop what you're doing, because if you're even slightly thinking about it, it supports that mindset.
Sets that light bulb off in the mind. Yep. Oh shit, I need to do something. Maybe have a look into it a bit further or dig deeper into it, kind of thing.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Definitely.
I'm going to ask you one now. So you talked about your partner. How did you guys meet?
Mate, surprisingly, we met when we were 15 and 16. So my wife and I, she lived in Quakers Hill at the time. I lived in Sydney, and basically her old man was best mates with my great uncle. So my grandfather's brother. They went to Ireland. They lived in Ireland and all whatnot. So they knew each other quite well. And he came back for like a family reunion, and I met back, and I seen her in this beautiful summer dress. I thought, this chick's fucking cute as anything. Got to ask her out. So took her for a walk along the beach, held her hand, and basically said to her, look, I want to go out with you. Like, there's no way this isn't going to happen. And she's like, yeah, sweet as. Like, we are dating. Like, this is going to happen. And she's like, no, I like you too. And yeah, manifesting, man. That's it. And yeah, we started dating. We dated for about a year. And then distance, obviously being young and not driving and stuff, it kind of drew a bit of a wedge between us, and we kind of came to the conclusion that maybe breaking up was the best option. And we didn't really talk to each other, like apart from, the odd message like happy birthday and all that kind of stuff on Facey. It was kind of like just sort of, she lived her life, I lived my life, I met other girls and she met other guys, and we both went through some sort of troubling relationships at the time. And 10 years later, man, she reached out to me after not really talking, and sort of said, hey, like, look, I'm going through some stuff. Do you mind if we just catch up for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or something and just have a chat? And I said, absolutely. Like, at the time, I just broken up with my ex, and I was a bit down in the dumps myself. And obviously she'd broken up with her partner and was a bit down in the dumps. And just one thing led to the next, man. We had some dinner together, and we sort of caught up and went on a few little dates here and there. I wouldn't even call them dates. They were just more like catch-ups.
Yeah.
Which obviously,
mate. Like you made a date and you went.
It progressed to dating, and then, before it, we were together again, and we were together for about 4 years before we decided to tie the knot. So we got married in 2000. Actually, our anniversary was only a couple of days ago on the 9th. So happy anniversary.
How many years is that?
We've been together. We've married now for 6 years, man.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years in total and 6 years married. So.
Dude, I haven't had a relationship that lasted half as long. That
dude, this is the longest relationship I've ever been in, and look, it's when someone says getting married or picking that one person is a little bit difficult. It is, because you don't know sort of what you're getting into until you've been in it for the long haul. You don't know what to expect of the partner. Like, obviously you're in that honeymoon phase when you first meet, and it's just intimacy and it's just passion and it's just hectic. And then you get married, and then you go into another set of like the honeymoon phase where you're newlyweds, you know what I mean? And it's exciting and it's fun and you're traveling and all that. But then the stresses of life come into the situation where, you've got a mortgage now, you've got a baby, you've got this, you've got that, you've got work commitments and all that kind of stuff. And it definitely pays a toll on the marriage. But as I said earlier on, the communication thing is a big part. Like, I've always been honest with Beck about stuff. Been honest with my wife about stuff. And that makes a big difference. She feels comfortable talking to me about that kind of stuff. And it's been good, man. Like, I have to say, I've picked the right one, and all paths lead to each other. There's this weird sort of philosophy in my life where I felt like, your life is given to you in multiple paths, and the one you choose doesn't always necessarily lead to the right direction, but eventually there's a fork in the road and you got to pick, and I chose the right way, and I chose to be with Beck. And I think because of that, my life has benefited.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not always easy. Like, it's not always straightforward path, but it's a tough one. But yeah, I think the other thing I struggle with is like, am I making the right decision at the time, and will I waste time here? And I have a lot of issues, like commitment issues, all sorts of issues with relationships, which I haven't really dealt with since being on drugs. And now that I'm sober, I'm I need to do all the research that I've done. You need to be sober for at least 12 months before you engage in a relationship.
100%.
And for me, it's not just because I might relapse or whatever, which is part of it, but I also need to relearn all this shit because it's been 7 years of using drugs. So any relationship in that time has been basically soured because of drugs. Yeah. And I need to figure it out, start fresh and figure out.
You want to give them the best version of yourself.
100%.
And in order to get there, you have to get through what you're going through. Yeah,
for sure. And I don't want to put anything above my sobriety, because then everyone loses regard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to get yourself right first.
What's been the most unexpected thing about marriage, or your marriage in particular?
Unexpected. Wow. Didn't really think this question through, eh? Unexpected, just the comfort of having someone who you can just be open of it to and about everything. Conversations sometimes can be a little bit tough. You're talking about money, for example, in a relationship, or you're talking about, addiction. You're talking about, for example, myself with pornography addiction. Talking about that stuff is difficult to do at the best of times, but you can find the right person who will actually sit there and listen to you, not judge you, and just hear what you have to say about the situation. That makes a big, that's surprising, man. Someone's just willing to give you their whole being, who they are, and let it all out on the table. No sort of, no blocking, no walls up, nothing.
So it's unexpected that you found someone that'll let you do that?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Just finding the right one. There's a ocean of people out there that you can meet and that you can be with. But to find that one specific person that does the best things for you to help you become a better version of yourself, that's unexpected, man. Like, I didn't ever think I'd find the right girl, man, to be honest. Like, a lot of my mates growing up, they had partners, you know, quite young, 16, 17, and they're still with the same chicks now, man. And I was always kind of that lone character, you know, I didn't have anyone. And it hurt, man. Like, you kind of sit back and go, well, like, what's wrong with me? Like, again, the victim mentality, you know. And it was only kind of till, you know, your parents would sit there and go, yeah, don't worry. Like, the right girl will come along. You just have to be patient. I'm sure your parents probably said the same thing to you back in the day. Like,
no, they're just like, don't fucking get a partner at all. Like, live a single life forever. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you know, each to their own, I suppose. Like, but yeah, my parents were always like, oh, you know, just be patient, sweetheart. You know, you'll find the right girl. The girl will come, the girl of your dreams will sweep you off your feet, or, you know, you'll find each other at some point. And obviously, you date heaps of chicks between then, and, you know, you get through some really bad relationships. Sometimes you find some semi-okay relationships, but again, they don't always work out. But, you know, I always had that mindset, I'd never find the right chick. You know, I'd just been through so many sort of rough relationships and bad relationships that it kind of got to the point where I'm like, you know what, maybe I'm just destined to be a single dude. And then, yeah, back, you know, my wife came along, man, like, yeah, swept me off my feet, to be honest. Like, you know, they say that the man's supposed to sweep the woman off her feet. But, you know,
she kind of picked you up and carried you away.
100%, man. 100%. Like, here I had this woman who was just like, she was gentle, she was sweet, she was kind, you know, like, she just had so much happiness about her. Like, she smiled about everything I spoke about. She just had a smile on her face. Like,
she loves you, man.
100%, man. She just had
She's a
undying
beautiful girl.
love.
You're very lucky.
You know, I am very lucky, man. Both me and my brother are lucky, man. Like, you know, my brother's been with the same chick since school. Like, they met in high school and they're married. They've got 2 kids, the house. Like, you know, it's rare to find that sort of unique kind of love where someone just loves you so wholeheartedly. And like, you'll get there, man. I'm sure of it, bro. You'll find the right chick, man. She'll love you wholeheartedly. Like,
I do have fear, like, it's funny you like say that before about finding the right girl or whatever. One of my biggest fears, especially in the last 7 years, is that I found the right girl, but because of like my abuse and the way I treated them and stuff, I sort of just threw that away. Like, you know, like, obviously, yeah, it's just, I feel like maybe I might have, you know, I've had probably 4 serious relationships. One of those could have been the right girl, but due to my own actions, and it's always me pushing them away. Like, to be completely honest, I don't think I've ever had a girl break up with me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm not trying to be cool or something, but it's always been me pushing them away.
Absolutely. For
my own personal issues, my own, like, negativity, whatever.
Yeah.
Some of that is me not wanting to offload like bullshit onto them and feeling bad, like trying to give them, like, be like, all right, you know, I don't want to put this shit on you anymore or whatever. And like,
yeah, your mindset wasn't right.
No,
you know, you were obviously, like you said, talking to that small voice inside your head, which was the drugs. Which
do this, just break up with her because she'd be better off. And like, I'm sure they are better off because I have been a scumbag. True. You know, it's only now that I'm trying to be that better person. But
look, manifesting, man. You know, you keep manifesting positivity. You know, give good thoughts, man. Who knows?
I think a relationship will come, but like, I'm just not ready to.
Not obviously
need to get through all this shit. Yeah, I need to get through all this shit now.
First,
100%, man. And
you know, 10 years, bro. Me and Beck didn't talk for 10 years. You know, 10 years is a long time. Who knows with you, man? That right chick that you've lost and you're worried about, you know, you may not ever get back. 10 years might be down the track. She might reach out to you again. You don't know. You know what I mean? The universe works in weird ways, man. Like,
it's funny. A dude at work, we both know, he always says, and I find I think there's some truth in it, and also it's a 2-sided coin. He says that, you know, people on Tinder that are 30 to 40 years old, they must just be some fucked up units because, like, if you haven't found someone by the time you're 30 to 40, there's something wrong with you. So, you know, he reckons that pool of 30 to 40, stay away from them. And like, I kind of agree because it's people like myself that have been a fucking scumbag for, you know, 7 years, 10 years, whatever. But like, I also think the other side of it is some people get to that 30 to 40 and they're like the best version of themselves and they've grown because of all the bullshit. Yeah. And like, maybe you might get lucky and find someone, you know, and it's like, it's such a double-sided coin. I agree with him, but I also disagree with him.
Depends on the type of relationship, like your mindset on relationships too. Some people have that thing where, you know, we're destined to be with that one person. We have to be with one person. But some people are just like, you know, I'm happy being on my own. Like, do I need someone? Do I want to have that tie down, that lockdown in a relationship? Do I just want to be free to do what I want when I want and still have, you know, the person on the side to sort of have some fun with?
Yeah. I mean, no homo, but like, It was good timing when I split with my ex-partner, because I do get lonely. I'm one of those people that get lonely on my own, and I've got my dogs and stuff to sort of counter that. But like having one of the boys from work move in and rent the spare room, like I went from being in a relationship with a girl and having those things to being in a friendship or relationship with a dude, where you still have those mad conversations, you watch the footy, you spend time together. 100%. It combats that loneliness. Definitely. But you also don't have all that weird like drama either, because you just bros. Like, again, no homo.
You just keep him busy doing your thing. Like obviously, he does his thing, you do your thing, but at the same time, you have time when you sit down and watch TV together, watch a movie, watch the football or whatever. Like, 100%. The loneliness is definitely a big thing. If you're living on your own and you're just sort of wallowing in self-pity about yourself, you're never going to get anywhere.
No. And I think that's why I jumped like a few times I finished a relationship and then just went on a date with someone or whatever, like pretty soon after, because I was just lonely. It wasn't even sex. Like heaps of times, well, not heaps of times, but I finished a relationship and then I just would like go out for lunch or dinner or something with a girl, and they'd even be like, fuck, you're not going to fuck me? Like, they'd be like, oh, no. And they probably thought I was the most genuine dude ever. But like, I was just lonely, to be honest.
You just wanted the company, someone to spend some time with. 100%. Go to the movies with, go have dinner with. Like,
100%.
Yeah, definitely. It makes a big difference, man.
And I also like sometimes prior to starting to be open now, I would be open with like a girl out and dinner or something and tell her things, because I'm like, fuck, there's no repercussions. This girl doesn't know me other than going out for dinner tonight. I can tell her something, and if I never see her again, there's no harm, no foul. But if you were to go out for dinner with your mate after a relationship and you talk about something, they will remember that forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like sort of discreet in a way, you know?
That person doesn't have any tie to your life, really. Like, they're kind of just an external perspective on things.
And I think those girls in that situation where I went out for dinner and that was it, they probably were more attracted to me because I was open to them, especially on like, say, a first date or something.
Yeah.
But really it was for my own selfish gain,
Look, every step is a good step, man. Like, obviously talking to those girls may have helped you get to the point. You know what I mean? Like, you're being honest with them about stuff. Helping you, like you said, communication was a big thing for you. Maybe having these random dates and talking to these random girls about stuff helped you kind of open up, lower the barrier a little bit, lower the wall. Allow you to be a bit more expressive how you feel about things, and maybe got you to the point you're at now.
Yeah, for sure. What's one challenge you faced as a couple that actually brought you closer?
Definitely the addiction thing for me, man. Like, addiction and also depression, man. Like, obviously, with what happened with my old man passing and whatnot, I was in a dark place. You lose your father and you kind of just get down in the dumps and everything sort of becomes too difficult, and you start to shift that blame on people, and that's kind of what I was doing, man. Like, instead of sort of accepting the fact that I lost my dad and grieving with it, I was kind of pushing the blame on Beck. And I was making her feel like she was the reason and she wasn't there enough for him, and you weren't there for me and blah blah blah. And I feel terrible about it, man. Like, again, the perspective on things changed. I started to see things from her perspective, and I realized, dude, I was a cunt.
And what made you see that
straight
perspective?
Up, I was just a fuckwit, man. Like, we had a really good conversation. It was a sad day. We were kind of sitting in the car and we were a bit upset with each other, and it was getting to that point where it's like, look, this is make or break. We need to talk about this shit, because if this doesn't get sorted soon, we're basically treading on eggshells the entire time. This could be the make or break period for us. So we sat down and had a chat about some stuff, and obviously at that time I was still mad at her, and I was blaming her, like I said, for a lot of the stuff with Dad. Dad sort of left a bit of he sort of laid an egg in my mind about my wife and a perspective on my wife that I didn't see per se, but he kind of brought it to my attention, and then because of that, it just sort of sat in my head and it resonated continuously. Like,
so what was that?
He basically sort of said, like, she's at home, why is she doing more housework? Why is she helping you more, blah, blah. Like,
old school mentality,
100%. Like, he grew up in an age where the woman was at home looking after the kids and, looking after the house, and he'd come home from work and dinner would be ready, etc., like a very sort of 70s and 80s kind of household, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't resonate with the girls and the younger generation of girls nowadays. Like,
I agree.
They didn't know that kind of stuff.
They want power, and like they should have it. If they want to go and work, like, 100%. Go hard, fuck.
But obviously,
I'll stay home just quietly.
I'm cool to be a stay-at-home dad. I'm totally cool with that. But like, obviously, because I grew up in that household where my dad was kind of like that, I grew up with that mentality as well, that the woman was supposed to be home. And obviously, my mum was a stay-at-home mum, so she was at home looking after the kids and the house and the food, etc. So it was always something that I was privy to. Whereas for my wife, it wasn't her life. She had a very strong mum. She was a hardworking mum. She was a nurse, so she was consistently in the hospital. Her household was totally different. and obviously getting to talk to Beck about this stuff when we're going through our difficult time, it kind of made me realize, shit, I need to take a step back. Instead of playing the blame game and just utilizing the way that Dad made me think about this, I need to step back and look at Beck's perspective and go, well, maybe she didn't grow up the same way I did. Maybe her perspective on things isn't the same as mine. Maybe her expectations of me or my, what she would believe and my expectations of her are very different. You know what I mean? And that was sort of the stepping stone for us. Like I spent so much time and so much energy blaming her that it put a massive strain on our relationship, which in turn very well could have destroyed it.
I think it's that, like we spoke about, the victim mentality.
100%.
And she's going to think less of you if you're just blaming her all the time.
She said it to me, man. She said it. She's like, I just feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time, and I'm sort of scared to talk to you about stuff because I don't know how you're going to react.
Bro, that's been every relationship I've had, because I am a bit of a fucking loose unit, And I hate that. Like, I know I've got tattoos and stuff, and some people visually see you and might be intimidated. Like, I understand that. For me, it's art, but I understand some people are intimidated. Older people, whatever. Yeah. I actually enjoy, like, at the shops, just a bit of a segue, I enjoy being at the shops and you see an oldie or something, you go to walk in through the checkout together or something, you say, no, you first. By all means, go. And you see a smile on their face. Like, it's almost awkward, but they're like, wow, like, there is still good in people that appear that way. But relationship-wise... people, it's not the visual side. Like I've always, especially with drugs, because I was withdrawing all the time. I'd smoke at work, wouldn't come home and smoke at work. So I had those withdrawals, and I was a fucking cunt. Like aggressive for sure. Like, I've punched the wall before. I've fucking and that into women, like I'm bigger than them straight away. They know I'm stronger than them. I go to the gym every day, you've got that upper hand even without any type of aggression,
which is intimidating.
It's fucking intimidating, bro. And I'm learning that as I go. Definitely. It's not very often that your girl is taller than you, or stronger than you, or could make you tap out. If you could give newlyweds one piece of advice, what would it be?
Listen. Don't just talk, listen, man. Like, it's a hard thing to do, to sit there and just listen to someone. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're someone like myself who's quite opinionated. To sit there and listen to your spouse and properly listen to them, that takes skill, man. Like, and that's my advice to newlyweds. Just take the time to listen to your partner about how they're feeling about things. Shit, just to listen to how their day was, man. They just want to talk to someone. And if you're their only person, they're only having you to talk to about stuff, be that ear. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Listen to that person, because when you start sort of dismissing what they're saying and you start not listening to them, that's when the relationship starts to fall apart, because they want to be heard the same way you want to be heard, and that to me is my biggest piece of advice I'd say for a married couple.
Powerful, bro. That's the one thing, one of the biggest complaints of girls with myself is like not listening, because I think I'm always ready to have a debate. And when they say, like you said, they want to give you their opinion on something, and I'm opinionated, you're opinionated, you straight away, you don't actually, like, when they're talking to you, I find that I'm thinking about how I'm going to respond without actually listening to them. That's right.
You got the answer in your head before they've even spoken to you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, that's powerful, bro. I think that's not just for newlyweds. I think that's relationships in general, to be honest.
Or just even talking to you, just having friends.
Yeah.
Just be there for your friends, man. Listen to them.
Yeah, any relationship, 100%.
Dude, an ear is a powerful thing. That's why we got two.
Mine are painted on, mate.
That's it. That's why we got two of them, right? We got two ears to listen, man. Like my old man used to say it all the time. You got one mouth to speak and two ears to listen. Listen twice as much as you speak.
It's powerful, that.
And that's how it should be, bro, in life. Like, just listen. When people have to talk to you, sometimes just having an ear to talk to you can make a big difference, especially with people who are going through some shit. Like, if you're depressed or you're upset, like the counsel, for example, man, hats off to you, man, and thank you for that. Like, your advice on talking to a counsel was definitely something that helped me. I've only just recently sort of gotten out of the counselling sessions, but I was going once a week to talk to this counsellor midweek, so like a Wednesday night, 6:00 at night. I'd sit there for like 45 minutes to an hour talking to her just about everything. And, sometimes she wouldn't say a thing, man. I would just sit there and talk the entire time. But just having that someone to listen to you who's not part of your life, who's an external perspective on things, makes a big difference, because you start to think about things a little bit more clearly. Shit, maybe I wasn't doing that right. Oh, fuck, okay, fair enough. That makes sense. Like, why am I being this way? Why am I getting to this point? How come I'm getting frustrated at these things? It sort of helps you dial a little bit yourself. And people say this about counsellors all the time, that, the people go there expecting a quick fix. They're not going to fix you. What counsellors do, and you've made a good point of this, they give you the tools to help you deal with those things. And it's not weak, and it's not less manly to go see a counsellor. It takes a big man to go see a counsellor, and a big man to talk about your emotions and how you feel about things, and to help you dive deeper into sort of your psyche. But I wouldn't recommend it enough, man. Like, honestly, it definitely, that's another big part that saved my marriage and saved my relationship, was just being able to talk to a counselor and sort of get some shit off my chest. Like,
I'm glad it was helpful, man.
100%, man. And I thank you for that. Like, you suggested it, bro. And because of obviously your experience you had with your counselor as well.
Yeah.
It helped me think, oh, maybe I should talk to someone about getting some help. And even Beck, my wife now, she even says it like, dude, like the counselor helped you 100%. Like, you're a different person now. You're a whole lot happier. I'm more comfortable being around you now. Our relationship is in a lot better way. I don't, the person you were back then scared me. You don't scare me now. You make me feel comfortable. You make me feel safe. Whereas before I was scared.
I think this platform even is a good example of, I might have mentioned you to go see the counsel or whatever, but now you're mentioning it to countless people that are watching going, fuck, like, maybe I should, and that's
Absolutely.
the whole goal of this, this setup really is just, promoting positivity, recovery for addiction or whatever it is, relationships.
100%.
There's no, like, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not paying you for this. No one's getting paid. It's not
I'm here
about money
voluntarily,
anymore.
man.
We earn enough money with our jobs and everything
Absolutely.
else. It's like, I want to, go through my life and bring positivity now. I don't want to go through my life and leave some sort of negative mark or be a tough guy or whatever it is. Like, people aren't going to remember you in a positive light for being a fuckwit. They're going to remember you for being positive.
Absolutely.
Or helping people with growth.
And if if this does resonate with any of the people watching this, man, don't feel ashamed to go see a counselor. Don't feel ashamed to seek help, because at the end of the day, it's a step process. You're not going to find you're cured overnight. It could take months, it could take weeks, it could take fucking years. But at the end of the day, by you taking that initial step to seek help, that's where you see the benefits. You start to see the benefits.
Outside of financial cost, I can't see one negative to going to see a therapist or a
Absolutely
counselor.
not.
What's the negative? They're not going to video and put it on fucking Facebook and take the piss out of you.
They're costly. Don't get me wrong. Seeing a counsellor isn't cheap. You can get government initiatives now where you go see a doctor and you get 10 subsidised visits. So instead of it being $300 to see the counsellor, it costs you $150. But is $150 worth changing your life and making you a better person? Like, are you so scared to spend that kind of money to help yourself? You know what I mean? Like, would you pay to go to a gym? Absolutely. You pay for a gym membership to make yourself feel better, to make yourself look better. Same concept with the mind. The brain is a muscle. You still need to work it. You still need to fix it. Right?
My ex was so willing to get me to go there that she said she would pay for me. So you might find that some people in your life are so fed up with the way you're living that they will pay for you to
Absolutely.
Get better in whatever you're dealing with.
You just get that help, man. That's a big thing. Like, even just talking to your mates. If you can't afford to go to a counsellor, there are free services out there. You can just talk to your mates. Give them a chat. Go down to the park one day, man. Let your kids run around and just have a chat about your shit, like what's going on. And, sometimes just having that person say, hey, are you all right? Like, what's going on? Are you okay? Like, we have National Are You Okay Day. I'm a big advocate for that, man. I reckon that's fantastic.
Every day should be okay day.
100%. Like, just asking that person if they're okay it could be the difference between them doing something they regret or not. You know what I mean?
The funny thing is, like, with this TikTok especially, because people are so willing to comment on TikTok, when someone leaves a negative comment, like sometimes they get a comment about the shirt brand that I'm wearing. He's a fuckwit if he wears this shirt.
Yeah.
When they leave that comment, the first thing I think about in my mind, and sometimes I'll reply to that comment and go, dude, are you all right? Like, because it's not positive to comment on someone random on the internet's video and say something negative. That just shows that you're probably dealing with some shit, man.
Absolutely.
Look, you're going through something.
If you're gonna utilize that 1.5 seconds of your life to make a negative comment on something, man, you got some shit going on.
100%.
Why waste your time? You could be utilizing that time to make yourself a better person.
I actually feel, and I never fight a negative comment online with another negative comment.
Absolutely.
Because then I'm projecting that I'm not in a good way. Like,
well, you're just feeding into it.
Yeah, and I actually found, like, a few times there's been a few comments on there where someone said something negative and I've gone back with a positive comment or actually owned what they've said. They may have made a really good point. One of in particular is my head tattoos or whatever. They look fucking stupid. Like, yeah, sweet. Like, I get it. Like, that's not your opinion. But I've gone back and said something about it, and they've actually come back positive. First comment negative, second comment positive from them.
Absolutely.
Sort of turned their mindset around. That's awesome. I felt good that day.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it's like I said, perspective, man. Perspective's everything. What one person sees one way, another person might see another. Don't be so quick to judge. Pardon me. Don't be so quick to judge, because the person that you're giving shit to or you're putting bad comments on or whatever, they might be going through something too, man. Your negative comments aren't going to make things better for that person.
No.
Don't waste your time. Be positive about things, man. Like, life is a beautiful thing, man. Like, we get to wake up every day. We get to go to work. We earn a living. We get to eat good food. You know, we're in a very lucky country as well. You know, some people are born into countries where
no food, no
no
water.
food, no water. You know, you're sleeping in shanties, like all that kind of shit. Like Australia in its own, we are very lucky.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You know, we have a beautiful country. You know, we can go walk along the water's edge. It costs us nothing. Like we have these beautiful views. You know, take advantage of life in a positive way. You know, see life for its beauty instead of looking at it from a negative perspective, man. Changes everything.
I've got, this will be my last question, and if you've got any in there you want to go with.
I'll have a look, man. Let's have a look.
So looking ahead, what's one dream or goal you and your partner both want to achieve together?
Probably buying another house or like an investment property or something along those lines. I mean, that's probably every kind of couple's dream, is to get themselves financially set where they don't have to worry about money anymore. Like money is a massive stressor, bro. Surprisingly, on a relationship, it's a huge stressor, man. When you're starting to stress about mortgage and you're starting to stress about, you know, week to week, you know, you're living week to week, paycheck to paycheck, like things get tight, things get, you know, that's when sort of anger starts to arise and the blame game starts to come up and stuff. So definitely getting ourselves into a financial situation where we can afford a secondary property, and, you know, obviously that will benefit my son. As he gets older, he'll have, you know, he'll be one step further ahead than I was at his age, you know, and every generation will slowly get better than the one beforehand. And that's our outcome, our goal is just to make sure our son is well looked after. And, you know, if something was to happen to us, God willing, nothing does. That he'll be set for the future and he won't have to stress about money or stress about these situations, and he can then use that time and energy to develop a good relationship, a positive relationship, all that kind of stuff. So definitely, yeah, anything to make my son's life better and to make my son a happier sort of go lucky kid. That's all I want. Like I just want my kid to have a good life.
Yes,
I think you probably know yourself, you know, once you have a kid, man, it's your focus is on them. You know, you want your kid to succeed in every aspect.
Yeah, we know how hard it was for us, so you
absolutely,
want that
absolutely.
You'll be a cruise for them. I think the one thing with that is I've heard it a lot of times in like other podcasts and people that have gone through, you know, hard times. Hard times also, like there's a thin line with your kid where you don't want to make life so cruisy for them that they become spoiled and everything's, you know, everything's hard, and they become the victim mentality because they haven't been handed the next thing that they're waiting for. But also you don't want your kid to go through, you know, abuse and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Either you want them to have a nice life, but sometimes those you know, those hard childhoods make the strongest people and the most beautiful people, you know?
Absolutely. You know, like I'm one, I wasn't given everything as a kid. Like I'm not saying I was like, you know, in a poverty-stricken family or anything along those lines, but you know, I didn't get everything I wanted. You know, it wasn't fast food every night. It wasn't a toy every week. It was, you know, if you were well behaved, maybe once a month you get a toy, or, you know, you may go to fast food once every month if you're a good boy, that kind of thing. But definitely I agree with you, man. Like you don't want to have spoiled kids. You don't want to give your kids everything to the point where they're just brats. You know, you want to teach them that, you know, with, you know, you do good things. For example, like my young fella just upped his class in swimming. He's gone from a level 1 to level 2, and he really put in time and he really put in the effort, and he was rewarded for that. And I believe that's a fair thing. If you're rewarding your children for effort and you're rewarding them for putting the time and the energy into something, I think that they've earned that reward. But if you're just giving them because you don't want them to get sad, or you don't want them to cry and all that kind of shit, then I feel like you're kind of spoiling your kid, because instead of dealing with the situation at the time, you're masking it with something. And then every time they go through that, they expect to get something because they're upset or they're crying. You know what I mean?
I was told at Muay Thai, when I wanted to sort of make something of it and, you know, maybe fight at a certain level, I was told that, all right, dude, if that's what you want, that's fine. But these people that you're going to go up against, that you're training to fight, were bashed as kids. They were brutalized. They were punched in the head multiple times. These people have been dealing with getting punched in the head since before they can even remember, before they can walk. They were literally abused. If you think you're going to get in the ring as someone that wasn't abused or wasn't beat up as a kid and take the same amount of punches or take the same heat as them, you're fucking dreaming.
Absolutely.
Once I was told that, I basically gave up on that dream, because there's no way I'm ever going to fight 20 years of getting bashed as a kid or seeing your mum get bashed. You know, these people, it doesn't matter how hard I can hit, unless I can knock them out in the first 10 seconds, they're going to hit me just as many times and I'm going to fall down.
Absolutely. And they'll cop it a lot better because they've experienced it. They've dealt with it. Like,
I think that applies to a lot of things. So like if someone's grown up with, you know, hard times, hard times as an adult are much easier to deal with, and that's a skill that they've learnt with.
Absolutely. If you grow up and you're not someone who's been given everything on a silver plate, then you start to respect. I find you respect things a lot more. You know, you may not have the biggest house in the world, but you respect that house immensely because you worked your ass off to get it.
Yeah.
You know, you get that bike. Fuck, I love this bike. I look after this bike. I polish it. I keep it clean because you worked hard for it. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're someone who's just been given everything their entire life, for example, a kid, you know, gets given everything their entire life. As they get older, they learn not to respect those things because they know that all they need to do is ask and they'll get what they want.
One of my failings, to be honest, is I've got that what's next mentality where I'll work towards something, I'll achieve that thing, and then as soon as I get it, I'm on to what's next. I want something bigger and better. It's definitely one of my failings, whether it's buying this house or getting a Harley or a nice car. Like I remember enjoying my car for the first month, like this is fucking dope, it's so nice. And then next I wanted the same car with a V8 engine in it, or I wanted, absolutely. It's just it's constant, and I think it's productive to always want more and always want to strive for more, but there's a point where you just have to be happy with what you've got, accept it, and be grateful.
Absolutely, 100%, man. Like things are just things, bro. At the end of the day, like when you die, you can't take that shit with you. You know what I mean? It gets left here in the plane. We're off in fucking wherever we go. You know what I mean? Like money's money. You know, having money's fantastic, and life is so much more comfortable with money, but you can't take that shit with you. You know what I mean? So live the now, live the life, enjoy it. You know what I mean? That's a good piece of advice. You know, just live the now, live your life to the fullest. You know, take your kids places, let them experience the world. You know, don't just tie yourself down to the same monotonous routine that everyone else does. Go to work, come home, go to bed, wake up, go to work, come home. That sort of bullshit, man. Like try to live every day to the maximum you can. You know, even taking your kid to the park and playing a couple of toys in the park with them, like that makes a big difference to them, man. They just want you there.
Yeah, that's all they want.
You know,
that's all they want.
Yeah, just live life to the fullest. Let me have a look, man. I had a couple of questions up here. What would you say is the most, so the one thing that you're most proud of by making the change?
Proud of myself, to be honest. Like I there was times there where I'm not a crier. Like I think I cried twice in my last relationship, and outside of that I hadn't cried since I was fucking, can't remember, you know? And I think like there was times there where I just wanted to cry and be like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I can't beat this addiction, or, whatever. And I think now that like I have beat it, that's the thing I'm most proud of, that like it actually was possible, even though I couldn't see that at the time. Yeah. It wasn't easy, but like it was possible.
Yeah.
And that'll help me next time I come up against something where I'm like, fuck, I don't think I can do this. I can do this. 100%.
That's so good, man. Honestly, like to give it up and to sort of stick in that positive mindset, that's admirable. You know what I mean? It's not an easy thing to sort of just give it up and feel fantastic about it. Like it takes time, and you've definitely leaps and bounds.
It takes work, man. And I always look for quotes to keep me consistent with that. And the one that resonates the most is, you can't stay clean off yesterday's shower. You absolutely have to keep taking a shower and keep working on your issues, addictions, whatever it is. Like it's constant. You don't do things you clean your car gets dirty a couple of days later. It rains, get shit on it. Like you got to keep cleaning your car if you want a clean car.
Absolutely. Putting the time and effort.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've been going for a fucking while, dude. So
that's it.
Thank you very much for coming on.
You're very welcome, man. Thank you for having me.
It's been catch up in some time, and hopefully everyone enjoys this. And shout out to Ben Eisted from work.
Shout out to Ben. Cheers, brother.
See ya. Cool, man. Thank you very much.
No, like this, man. That was good.